Dawn, Mach 1. Mach 1. Hey, Mike. Hey, Cheyenne. Hey, Tord. Hey, Joe Lau. Yo Lau. Javier. Hey, mate. Hey, Vanetta. How you doing? Dave Thompson. Antonio. Ciao. Ciao, bello. Happy Monday, everybody. Hey, Rational Squirrel. Hey, Nicola. Mad Mike. So, yeah, guys, the time thing is a real thing. My friends, my European friends are confused. Hey, Tisno. Because, America has gone daylight savings time. You guys have sprung ahead. We here in Europe have not. So for me, it's actually 11 o'clock. And I thought I had an extra hour to get ready for this, and I didn't. So I'm completely unprepared tonight. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Carol. Hey, Ballerina. Hey, Jeff. Nice chatting with you today. Hey, Yorkshire. Anthony, Tommy, Tom, Maddie Wright, and all the peeps. Hello from Norway. Hello, Norway. Hey, Allie. Hey, Thomas. Noah Landis. Hey, Eli. How you doing? Hey, Jay. Hey, Rob Walker. Hey, Hacky Sack Trav is here. Travis, why is it so easy for people to hate me? Can you explain that to me, please? Why do I inspire either the best or the worst in people? Hey, Fitz. Hey, Ant. Is it quiet tonight, Ant? Jealousy. There you go. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to run with that, brother. I'm going to run with that. Oh my God, what a day I've had. What a weekend. What a weekend it's been. Thanks, pal. So, yeah, I'm totally unprepared. Here's what I'll do. I'll look at my videos for the last 2 days because we didn't really have a live yesterday, and I will talk about them. And then we will take questions. So these are pretty up to date. I didn't do the satellite photos of the hangar, the A50 hangar yet. But we can talk about that. So daylight savings time is the first thing, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. Hey, Mitch. I appreciate everybody being here. Hey, Rodney. Not the Americans. Fuck you guys. It's the regular schedule for you. But all the Europeans had to adjust because we haven't done daylight savings time yet. Though I have to confess, yeehaw, thanks, Allie. Though I have to confess, I'm looking forward to getting to bed an hour earlier every night for the next 3 weeks. I am looking forward to that. Hey, PH. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice to do this at 11 for the next 3 weeks or so. So a couple things. Is Clay in yet? Is Clay here? Clay, you saw it anyway, I think. Oh, no, that wasn't the one. Wait, I did 2 funny ones today, but I think I only tagged you in the one. I did. No, dude, I did another funny one. Freaking, there's a picture of a Ukrainian, like either a partisan or a military intelligence person, and he's a half a block off from Red Square, right at the Kremlin. And he's got a picture of himself with his little Ukrainian business card, guard post, intelligence near. And he's holding it up in front of the armory that's attached to the Kremlin there. Yuji says, just watch your video on RF businesses going out. Shops are being replaced by liquor stores. I'm not so sure about that, brother, because, they increased the tax on a fifth of liquor by 600%. So I think it was like maybe 10 rubles or something, and they put it up to 60 rubles tax on every fifth of liquor. The Russians are not happy about that, just like they're not happy about paying 100 rubles for for 10 eggs. So 10 rubles an egg now. That's a real thing. So on the subject of bankruptcies in Russia, bankruptcies in Russia are up 60% this year, year over year. Last December, there were 340 odd bankruptcies. I'm sorry, last January 2023, there were 340 odd bankruptcies in Russia. That number was up 47% in January of 2024 to 547. The February numbers were even worse. February numbers were up like 550 last year to 771 this year. 771. Hundreds of businesses are going bankrupt every month in Russia right now. Now, the IMF has predicted a 2.8% growth, economic growth for this year for Russia. So if things are good, why are they going bankrupt? Because that's only good in the defense industry, where the Kremlin is printing rubles to make ammunition to blow up. That does not move your economy forward. That doesn't create consumer demand. That doesn't encourage people, right? High interest rates on loans, the central bank core rate is 16% these days. That means people are paying 22, 23, 24% interest on private loans, bank loans, business loans, etc. It's a bad situation, and it is not going to get better anytime soon. I'll tell you that right now. Russia is suffering. And, thanks. And boy, Russia was on fire this weekend and today as well, right? Today in Rodniki, we saw a building materials warehouse and a 700 square meter fire, big fire, and millions of dollars worth of product in that warehouse, presumably. Over the weekend, we saw the oil depot at Kursk hit, a 3,000-ton oil tank up in the blackest smoke you ever saw. We saw a gas line explosion out in the Tyumen region, about 1,400 kilometers from the 1,400 miles from the Ukrainian border, about 2,500 kilometers. And huge gas explosion, pipeline blew up. And the thing is, that's the second time in less than a year where that pipeline was hit. So there's clearly partisan activity in that region, it would seem. And of course, the Polkavo airport. Now, the airport was definitely a drone strike. Ukrainian drones struck the hangar on the industrial side of the airport, setting a hangar and its contents on fire. And we don't know what the contents of the hangar were, but the smoke was a thick, viscous, acrid smoke that irritated the senses, made the throat itchy and burning. Had a terrible smell to it, according to folks on the ground there. Hey, Darlene. Hey, Puggamahone. So Russia is on fire. Now, the Polkavo airport is an important story that I have not found the time to get back to. About 3 months ago or so, Russia and Putin nationalized the airport. They just took it for themselves. This is the first time that a large multi-billion-dollar investment made by friendly foreign powers was seized in Russia. A couple of Middle Eastern countries, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's Qatar and the UAE were major investors there, but don't quote me on that. I need to look it up. But I feel pretty confident Qatar was one, and then I think the UAE was the other. They, along with partners in Greece and Cyprus, poured $20 billion into this project. And Russia took it away from them, pocketed it for the oligarchs. Now, for the investors, what they told them was, look, you're not really being cut out. You're just not going to be involved in the management. But trust us, bro, we're going to pay you. Yeah. That sounds fucking likely. Oh my God. Turkey and Ukraine met this weekend, and or just before the weekend, and Erdogan offered to host peace talks with Russia. Ukraine flatly refused, and with good reason, because one does not negotiate with terrorists. One does not freeze a conflict that one is winning to give your opponent a chance to rearm and come back at you to destroy you, which is exactly what Russia will try to do. So I think that Zelensky's making exactly the right choice there. We talked about Kursk. The Pope said that Ukraine should raise the white flag and negotiate. Why anybody still cares about what the Pope thinks is beyond me. These people have no credibility at all. And then the other funny today was the Chechens. The Chechens had a pro-Putin rally. Yay! Elections are coming up, right? Elections are this week. They start the 15th. They go through the 17th. And they were out there. They were out there cheering in the streets for Putin. And it turns out, though, that everybody in the street was a paid state employee who had been told it was mandatory to go there, or a student at the National University who had been told it was mandatory to attend. And the propagandists handed them flags. There are these great pictures of immediately after the rally, all the flags in the garbage. Just piles and piles of Russian flags in the trash after the rally. It's beautiful. It's absolutely a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, we did have some bad news this weekend, but it's not real bad news. It's just unfortunate news. After after a year of unsuccessfully trying to hit a patriot, after a year of phony video of them hitting patriots, after a year of failed attempts and bullshit claims, the Russians did finally manage to hit 2 of Germany's Patriot launchers. Now remember, when Germany sent its Patriot battery, it sent 8 quad launch tubes, so 4 missiles per launcher. And they're down 2 now. They only have 6 left. Oh, gosh. It's really a tragedy. It's too bad, don't get me wrong. But look, if you're going to have equipment near the front line, you're going to expect a percentage of it to get lost. The fact that it lasted this long is great. Okay. Then what else? We talked about all the fires in Russia this weekend. Ukrainian military intelligence. UK military intelligence, the British MOD, has acknowledged that the Ukrainians have built all of these defensive lines, these defensive fortifications, and they have stopped the Russians at them. It would also appear that Ukraine's shell hunger is easing, because the Russians, believing that the Ukrainians are out of shells, have started, instead of doing the small-scale attacks on highly maneuverable vehicles, they've started doing large armored column attacks again. And in the last 3 days, we saw a large armored column of 15 vehicles completely destroyed, 10 vehicles completely destroyed, and then another 13 vehicles in a large armored column completely destroyed, the men and the machines. So it would appear that the shell hunger has eased. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Um, Lithuania has joined the coalition of President Peter Pavel's plan to get 800,000 artillery shells into Ukraine. And they have fully funded the first 300,000 shells. Now, it's unclear how much more is funded because initially the Reuters reported that they had fully funded the 800,000. Then Pavel said that they fully funded the 300,000. So it's unclear. Lithuania joined this coalition to buy these shells and became the 19th country to do so. So there's 19 countries chipping in on these 800,000 shells. And I don't know that we have all the money for them. But the first 300,000 are being purchased now. Maybe we'll figure out where they came from, huh? But assuming that there are no problems with the transport and delivery, President Pavel of Czech Republic said that they should arrive in country in a few weeks. So before the end of the month is what his prediction is. And with that, I think that's all I have. Oh, the update on the A-50, the attack on the A-50, the satellite images are out. Unfortunately, they don't tell us much. We can see 3 holes, one in the hangar, and then 2 in the large support complex behind the hangar. But the A-50 is inside the hangar. And so we don't really know yet how much damage has been done to that plane. But it appears that the Russians are now down to 0 to 3 working A-50s and 0 to 4 for parts. Somewhere between 0 and 4 for parts. It is worth mentioning that somebody told me, and I don't know this to be true, but somebody who claimed to be in a position to know said that they only have 2 trained crews for the A-50 that can actually run them. They're down to 2. POC is not POC time, Simon. It's POS, which is not what you're thinking. It's definitely not that. I was told that it translates basically as guard post. As guard post. But I had to send it to a whole bunch of Russian-speaking, Ukrainians, a whole bunch of Ukrainians. And only one person had an idea of what it might mean. And that person wasn't even somebody I sent it to. They commented on the post. The people I sent it to, nobody knew what that could possibly mean. Although there were some POS and people of color jokes. That's very true. Slowly, they are becoming depleted. Yes, they are. Large columns are a death match with all the Ukrainian drones around. Yes, they are, Bomba Guy. Kremlin still selling diesel to Ukraine. What? I don't know what that means. That's not a true thing to say. Antonio, it was not 2 Patriots. It was 2 Patriot missile launchers. And they were the German PAC-2 quad missile launchers, so 4 missiles per launcher. And I have a video on this. If you take a look, yesterday I posted it. But no, 2 Patriot batteries were not destroyed. No, just 2 launchers. The Ukrainians still have 6 of the 8 launchers the Germans sent with that. No, Pugga Mahone, it's not true. It's just the launchers. It's not the batteries. None of the expensive parts, the command and control, the radar, the targeting solutions, none of that was hit. Just 2 launchers. The A-50s are somewhat the equivalent to our E-3 Sentry aircraft early warning craft, right? Dom, I apologize. I don't know what an E-3 is. Are you American? Because in America, we call them AWACS. Nothing about the bridge, Clay. Sorry, pal. We're working on the Americans here are working on the American aid thing, Anthony. I assure you, we are. We got our letters to Congress. We got our phone calls to Congress. We're trying, working on it. Hey, Music Man. You know what, Music Man? We got trouble, pal. Right here in Kyiv. Trouble with a capital P, that T that rhymes with P, that stands for pool. I can't help it. It's an AWACS, yes. Once again, the Vatican demonstrates that it is on the wrong side of history. It says way 12121. And I couldn't agree more. Hey, Jenna. What did Kansas Steve say that everybody's saying no kidding? Oh, the Pope also said NATO might be responsible for the war. Of course he did. Right? I mean, this is not a person who's interested in facts. I mean, this is a person who wants you to believe all kinds of things that we know did not happen. This is the inheritor of the seat of the guy who jailed Galileo for daring to suggest that the Earth orbited the sun instead of the other way around. Because clearly God had created man in the center of the universe. Let's remember, this is the same guy who said at the beginning of the war that the Bucha atrocities and the atrocities we were hearing about in the eastern part of the country were only being caused by those godless Oriental Russians from the Far East, not the good God-fearing Russian Orthodox soldiers. He said that. My religion is medicinal herbs that I can smoke. Hey, Mel. Count von Count. 1 A50 down. 2 A50s down. Ha 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 ha. Good night, Simon. Oh, hey, before I forget, Larry from Encino Tech, Lars from Encino Tech is our sponsor for tonight's live. Thank you, Encino Tech. Sure do appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. Feel free to text me on WhatsApp anytime, pal. Is Germany about to send Ukraine Taurus missiles? No, they are not. They are absolutely not. And it doesn't look like they're ever going to do that. Now, it is not impossible that Germany will send some Taurus missiles to the British and the British will send Storm Shadows in return. But we don't have any word from the Germans that they're going to do that. I remember when those conspiracies weren't political. Which conspiracies? I don't care. I don't want to talk about conspiracies. Russia has the bomb. Jamaica would never make a bomb. They might make a bong. Get all Irie Rastafari. My point was those are the people who support Putin in the U.S. Yes, absolutely. Because you have to believe so many things that aren't true if you're going to support somebody like Putin. You have to believe that democracy is the genocide of the world, that we're the worst. I mean, you have to be a self-hating masochist to buy into any of this. Yeah, Frank, I wish it were true that nobody cares about the Pope anymore, sorry. Except we just saw the Catholics in the United States undermine Roe versus Wade and the integrity of the Supreme Court. So he's got 1 million followers brainwashed still. And I should know, because I'm not just a critic, I'm a survivor. I'm a recovering Catholic. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten through the end of high school. So what's that, 13 years? Then 5 years at a Jesuit university. So that's 18 years. I have 18 years of Jesuit education. My high school diploma is from the Immaculate Heart of Mary Sisters. Yeah. I mean, I have 4 degrees from the Jesuits, for Christ's sake. Maddie Wright's a recovering Catholic. PT did 9 years. Big Steve's got sympathy for me. Do you think Trump will become president? No, I think Trump will die alone in a jail cell where he belongs. Jesuit education is excellent. I didn't so much escape as I just stopped going. But I'll tell you, Bobby, for my son, when it was time to pick a school for my son, I sent him to a Catholic school because in Northeast Pennsylvania, that is the best education you're going to get. So, for elementary school, he went to an order of nuns, Immaculate Heart of Mary nuns. And then for high school, he went to a Jesuit high school. And it was I think it was a good move. Bamba Guy, I am not old enough to have been hit on the knuckles with a ruler. That was all over by the time I came along. Trump will not be elected. Did you not see my video about the primary voting trends? Trump barely is getting 60% of the vote among Republicans. And the Republicans who aren't voting for him are saying they will not vote for him in the fall. So that's it. Game over. You only get 60% of your own party and your party's the minority party? You're not carrying the country. No way in hell. No way in hell. I did the math on that video. Go check it out. Right now, you're in a situation where Trump, you can't win a primary without him as a Republican, but you can't win a general election with him. None of his candidates were elected at the midterm, except for a few handful that were reelected in the most ruby red states, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, etc. So it looks like it's going to be Biden then. Biden's doing an okay job. Yeah, bone spurs. He got a doctor. He paid a doctor to lie and say he had bone spurs to get out of Vietnam. Yeah, Bobby, Francis is a Jesuit. Now, what's interesting about that is when I was growing up as a Catholic, Jesuits couldn't become Pope. You had to be a parish priest. You had to be a parish priest, then you had to be a bishop, then an archbishop, then a cardinal, and then Pope. You had to be tied to a parish. Jesuits are not tied to parishes, so I don't know when that church canon changed that made it possible for Francis to even exist. But he's not doing a very good job. He's terrible. Hey, I'm a force of nature. Peter, when are the boys ready for the counteroffensive? 3 months. Think Biden is actually the best that can happen? Yeah, for right now, it's definitely the best. Bobby, the Jesuits were unbelievably educated. I mean, I knew Jesuits that spoke Latin, like spoke it, like could talk to you in Latin and to each other in Latin. That's right, Dom. It'll all change when the F-16s come. And that's June at the earliest. Peter, when are the boys ready for the counteroffensive? 3 months, Antonio. 3 months, June. Right? March, April, May, June. 3 months. The next 3 months are going to be hard. The next 3 months are going to be bad. You're going to see offensives from the Russians that make progress. Be prepared for bad news. Be prepared for bad news. Just like we saw the first HIMARS system destroyed. We saw the first Patriot launchers destroyed. We saw the fall of Avdiivka. There's going to be more of that. And I do believe that part of it will be intentional, that it is the nature of attritional warfare for you to take out as many of your enemy as you can while preserving your own lives. And so the Ukrainians are going to hold the line and they're going to attrit the Russians. And then the scuttlebutt is from the experts. This is not me talking because I don't know anything about warfare. But there's more than one an analyst that I listen to on a regular basis who are now saying that they believe that the Ukrainians will have strategic fallbacks in particular places in order to overextend the Russian lines, draw them so far away from their logistical support that they are in a position to then collapse the line. Now, nobody is expecting that to happen soon. They expect that that's going to be a process over the next 90 days. So we should watch for that kind of thing to start happening. Will they have the weapons and aid for counteroffense? Assuming that America gets off its ass and gets the foreign aid bill passed 3 months from now, yes, that equipment will be here. What would happen if one of Ukraine drones accidentally exploded inside the Kremlin? It wouldn't be an accident. It would be on purpose. And hopefully the Kremlin would burn. I'm looking forward to that day, personally, Mel. Because RU gain ground, they don't care that much about losing planes. Yeah, no, they care. They care about those A-50s. They fucking care. They're blind without those A-50s. Without those A-50s, you get the attack on the A-50 that we just saw this weekend. They care about the A-50s, believe me. It's too long. They can't wait. Donbass is bad. Emma, I'm sure you're right. And I wish this were not the way it is, but that looks like the best. We got to hold on. Peter, I hope that Italy gives them centaurs called tank hunters. Italian centaurs, huh? Yeah, Bobby, that about sounds like my path. Ukraine leading the way with drones. You ain't kidding. Drone production is supposed to hit 2 million this year in Ukraine. Are you armed? Can you say some A-50s still use compact hardware? Are you armed? Are you talking to me, Professor? Can you say? No, I'm not armed. I mean, I'm an American in a war zone. Why would I carry a weapon? Am I armed? You're right, Prof. Do you think the 20 days in Mariupol speech will wake up Congress? No. Yeah, I have 2 arms. Hey, Sharon Paper Artist. Hey, Lars. How you doing, pal? Let me see here. Oh, God, this 11 o'clock thing is weird. It's very weird. What else is going on, guys? Who's got questions? I'm Irish. We don't boast about that. You set a false expectation. Hi, have you heard anything about amphibious assaults with the Swedish and Norwegian boats? No, I have not, Christian. But we know that the boats are coming or they're here. And we know that the British, Anthony, have been training Ukrainian Marines to use them, as have the Norwegians. And maybe the Swedes, too. I want to say the Swedes and the Norwegians. Yeah, I think that's right. Best would be Ukraine and Russ find a way, and U.S. leaving Europe. Get the fuck out of here. How about this? How about this as the best way? Russia packs up and goes the fuck home. The U.S. supports the rebuilding of Ukraine, and Russia falls apart from its own internal rot, from its government of kleptocrats. Because that's what's going to happen. That's the future. Oh, crystal ball, tell me the future. You're going to die. Is there a Chinese arms supply in Russia? Increasingly, it looks like it. There seems to be more and more evidence to indicate that, in fact, the Chinese are supplying deadly weaponry. We're getting more evidence about that, but not enough to say definitely what's going on there. Bridgehead in the south. So Pugga Mahone, it's about 10 days ago now that Shoigu... So Teplinsky told Shoigu that the bridgehead in the Krinky area had been eliminated, okay? Shoigu goes and tells Putin that the bridgehead has been eliminated. 300 Ukrainian Marines who are on the bridgehead look at each other and say, what the fuck did he just say? So then the Ukrainian Marines get pissed and they push the Russians out of Kozachi Lahiri and take the whole town. So the Ukrainian bridgehead has expanded to include not just Krinky, but now Kozachi Lahiri. And I meant to do a video on it today with the details, but I didn't have a chance. I got done what I could. So tomorrow I'll get you the video on the taking of the retaking of Kozachi Lahiri. How come the Democrats don't have a younger candidate? Well, Tisno, that's a real problem in the United States. People in power don't want to be out of power. The political machine wants to reward those who have served the political machine. It is a problem. It's a problem. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a Joe Biden fan. I would not have picked him. But I have to say, I'm going to vote for him this year because he's doing a good job. Ukraine is not running out of soldiers. They need more men. You're not wrong. The problem is that everybody that was inclined to volunteer has done that. 1.2 million men stood up and women stood up and joined the army at the outset of the war. But now it's 2 years later. Anybody who was going to join has. And so they are thin on the ground for new recruits. Volunteer, right? There's millions of men that can be drafted. Millions. And they're about to pass a draft. Up until now, they haven't had a draft. So they're about to pass a draft law. And the minimum age is 25. It's not like we do in the United States, 18 and up. So it's conscious of the effort to preserve the younger generation, which is a good move. Yeah, it is. Herb, if you're talking to me, I don't vote Republican at all. Well, I shouldn't say that. I did vote for John McCain once. I did. I voted for John McCain once. I really liked John McCain. I voted for him once. I would not vote Nikki Haley, no. Biden is definitely better for Ukraine. Hey, Krina, how you doing? Hey, spiritofUkraineFoundation.org. Chopper Cordova. I don't know who that is, but I like that handle, Chopper Cordova. Who do I like besides Biden? Oh, I like Katie Porter. Yeah, Bamba Guy, don't be so happy about McConnell finally retiring. Even slipping the way that even at 20% of himself, he had more politics than Donald Trump, and he was opposed to Trump. I wish he had done more with that, but he was opposed to him at least. Yeah, Fitz, you're not wrong. The USA will send more troops. No, Nightshade, I'm not early. Remember the live is based on New York time. We go live at 5 in New York City. And New York had daylight savings time this week, so they're an hour ahead. So all of us in Europe who are still waiting to spring forward, we're going to be going an hour early until March 31st here in Kyiv. March 31st in Kyiv, we spring forward and we'll be caught up with New York. So that's the situation. So for the time being, London time, we're going live at 9 rather than 10. The obscene things that Donald Trump said about John McCain. You know, that draft dodging, bone spur sucking motherfucker would say anything bad about John McCain? Give me a fucking break. Yeah, Ukraine is going to take Mariupol back. Ukraine is going to force the Russians out of Crimea. The 1991 borders will be reestablished. That's definitely the future. James, you're heading out to Kharkiv on Monday? What the fuck are you going to Kharkiv for, pal? Ukraine could use more experienced soldiers. If you've been honorably discharged from any foreign military service and you want to serve in Ukraine, contact the Ukrainian embassy in your country. They are taking volunteers. James says that he's going out to Kharkiv for humanitarian work. James, I do want to stress to you that Kharkiv is being pummeled right now. Right? You know that, right? You're with some organization that's going to give you a flak jacket, right? You got a helmet, right? Okay. Well, kid, you're a braver man than I am. And I wish you a lot of luck and safe trip. Oberezhna. Hey, Truthful. I hear great things about the Finnish military. If I think Ukraine will win, why do you think we are in World War III? Because we are. I mean, we are. Make no mistake. I think these things. I believe these things. I don't know the future. I'm just an idiot, right? There's no telling what will happen. But I promise you, if Ukraine doesn't win, World War III becomes inevitable. Human says they're in Kharkiv, not scary for those of us in it for 2 years. 2 years. It's a long time. Fitz, you make a good point. Dark Irish says, World War II didn't happen overnight. It didn't start on December the 6th. Is that Pearl Harbor? December 6th, 1941? Is that right? Or December 8th? December 7th, of course. December 7th, a day that will live in infamy. So, by 1941, the Germans had already occupied the Sudetenland for 4 years, because it was December of 41, right? So 38, 39, 40, 41. 4 years the Germans had occupied the Sudetenland. Those are the roots of World War I, or World War II, rather, sorry. It didn't start when we joined up. The roots are growing. The official start is September 1939, but by then the Germans had the Sudetenland for 2 years. Yeah, I got a little, you know what it is? I usually have a snack about 11 as I prepare the notes for the live, and I didn't have my snack. And now here we are, almost an hour in, right? Oh, yeah. Sorry. The worst thing to eat when you're talking to people. Officially, it began in 39. But the roots of it go much deeper. The roots of appeasement go much deeper. Right now, we're in 1936, and this is the Sudetenland. Or if you prefer, it's 1914, and Ukraine is Archduke Ferdinand. We're in those early stages. Make no mistake. Ukraine did retreat under fire from Avdiivka, and lots of Ukrainians were lost. And I was happy, and I don't want to say happy, but I was gratified that my President Biden, said to the world and to the Congress that Avdiivka fell because the Ukrainians didn't have shells because we didn't pass the funding. Yeah, the Greek, that's a good point. Who said that? PT, good call. The Greek president, because a Greek guy corrected me on this. It was the president of Greece, was almost Archduke Ferdinand, right? The Russians tried to bomb the motorcade of President Zelensky and the Greek president. And if they had killed him or unalived him, then there's no telling what might have happened next or how the dominoes might have fallen. Definitely what we would have seen, the experts seem to, the expert consensus from the analysts that I listened to seemed to be that while technically an Article 5 violation, it was unlikely that it would trigger Article 5. Instead, it would be a watershed moment of doubling down of support for Ukraine from the West. We'd see this whole bullshit in Congress resolved. We'd see the EU find the shells. So yeah, the Greek president almost became Archduke Ferdinand. Still see America kicking their heels on passing the aid vote. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. Oh, was it the prime minister? So that guy in the comments was a troll. God, I hate that shit. How many Abrams, Leopards, and Challengers have been lost? Well, I know they lost one Abrams. I know they lost one Challenger. And I want to say it's 10 Leopards. Is it 10 Leopards? 9 or 10? Okay, guys, it is 7 minutes to the top of the hour. So, thanks for the roses, Karina. Thank you. So who's got final questions, comments, points of observation, or personal need? Those tanks are recovered and fixed in no time. In some cases, I believe that the Abrams was fixable. That seemed to be, it was mostly a caterpillar tread and then some drone damage. Night, Rob Walker. Did a second Abrams get hit? It's possible. I'm unaware of it. Thanks, PT. I'll have to take a look. 4. Correct, Fitz. Were you in New York that day? Who here was in New York on September 11, 2001? Anybody? How many T-90s has Russia lost? All of them. Just about. It's real close. It's real fucking close. It's a great question. Eli was in New York. Where's my boy Jake Kolkowski? Norman Roach was at One World Financial. Camping in Cornwall. Nice, nice. Pietro wants to know about the strike in Crimea announced by Budanov and the GUR. Apparently today, Ukrainian Air Force hit, I think it was Storm Shadow missiles, to check me on that, hit a command post of the Russian Federation, I believe somewhere in Crimea. I think it was in Crimea. I didn't mention it because I don't have the details. I only know that the command post was hit. In Padstow. I don't know where that is. So I didn't have the details. I haven't done a video on it. That's why I didn't mention it. But my understanding is that they did hit a command and control center of the Russian Federation. It's a small fishing village. Is it in Crimea? Is it in Zaporizhia? Is it in Donetsk? Do we know? Is it in Russia? Which side of the Sea of Azov is it on? Grom UA, I have been here for a year. It was just a year on February 24th. So I've been here for half the war. And yeah, man, I'm always interested to meet people. Hit me up, brother. Yeah, the T-14 doesn't even exist, really. Supposed to be flying into New Jersey the next day, September 10th, staying in New York. Got a video on Facebook Messenger. Thank you. Su-57 is a lie. Yeah, it is. It's a lie. It's not a real thing. No, Bobby, the Russians have lost a lot of business in the weapons industry, that's for sure. And America has picked it up to the tune of $90 billion in new defense services contracts for overseas clients. $90 billion this year. Oh, yeah, the May parade, right? May 10th, I want to say. When is that parade? What are they going to... Now, think about it. Think about the glory of that parade in the past, in Soviet times. Great big ICBMs going down the street, column after column of tank. Thanks, Dark Irish. They're going to have buggies. The May Day parade, yeah. They're going to all be on bicycles. Do I think there will be a conflict between the USA and China in relationship to Taiwan? I do not. Now, all of the experts are against me on this. They all seem to think that it's inevitable. I think the Chinese are smarter than that, and I think they're going to learn from what happens to Russia after this. Yeah, they're going to come down on what are they called? Desert Crosser 1000-3s. And they'll run out of gas in the middle of the parade. One T-34 in the last parade. Was it a 34? Is that what that was? BAE Systems is supposed to be building a plant here for weapons manufacture, yes. Humsies. Is that a thing, PT, or did you make that up? Is that real? They'll only have trucks. Well, they won't be fuel trucks because the fuel trucks have all been blown up at the front. So every fuel truck in the country is in Ukraine now. Jillian, I'm only early if you're not in the United States. Remember, our time is 5 o'clock New York time, and they have sprung forward. So for the next 3 weeks, my European audience gets me an hour earlier, which honestly I'm kind of happy about. I'm going to enjoy going to bed at midnight instead of 1 right now. How many Bradleys did Ukraine get, and how many have been lost? I don't know, Anonymous. I honestly, I don't know. PT, do you know? The Son of God died for our sins on the cross. Please, everybody, remember that Jesus died for your sins. So if you don't fucking sin, he died for nothing. Get out there and do a little sinning. That's what Jesus would want. Don't take him for granted. Yeah, Jillian, I'm just about to say goodnight. But first, I'm going to thank Lars from Encino Tech for sponsoring tonight's live. Really appreciate you, Lars. If you guys like what I do, please like, subscribe, and share. Maybe join the Patreon. Maybe sponsor a live. Links are in the bio. Big thanks to the best moderator team on the Tickety Talk. We got Cheyenne, Vanetta, PT, John Williams, Travis, and our newest addition, Jay. Welcome, Jay. And big thanks to Nightshade, who runs the Peter's Peeps Facebook group. If you're on the Book of Faces, join us over there. And big thanks, as always, to our technical director who runs the Discord server, Lars. Questions, comments, points of observation, or personal need, anything from anybody? Please check out my video, Fuck the Pope, for my opinion on Pope Francis's opinions. And if you don't know the good work of Tim Minchin, I encourage you to look for Tim Minchin's Pope song. It's pretty fucking funny. All right, kids, make it a great day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.